President-elect Donald Trump's victory raises many questions about what his next moves will be, and whether they could include a pardon of Hunter Biden. As far as President Biden is concerned, the White House said Thursday that there are not any plans for the president to pardon his son before leaving office. Let's listen.
Secondly, his son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Hunter Biden, President Biden's son, was found guilty in June of lying about his use of illicit drugs when applying to purchase a handgun 6 years ago. In September, he pleaded guilty to all 9 federal tax charges he faced.
Back at the White House briefing, a follow-up question on commutation, or a lesser sentence, was asked. Let's watch that.
Thank you, Graham. Just to follow up on the pardon question, is a commutation also still off the table?
For who are you talking about?
Oh.
No. No, I mean, we're not, that's not what we're going to do.
So you had said on Air Force One that the president would not consider a commutation of his sentence.
Yeah,
you're saying that still stands? Okay, great.
Hunter Biden is scheduled to be sentenced on December 12th on the gun charges and December 16th on tax fraud. So Biden's still ruling out a potential pardon for his son Hunter. Yeah. Look, if I were him, I'd probably do it. Look, like, it's your son. You're not running for re-election anymore. Your predecessor lost. Whatever. I would have done it for my kid probably. But I think more interesting question is whether or not Trump will pardon Hunter Biden.
Yeah, and I actually think, well, I wouldn't rule out that he might for a couple of reasons. One is, it is really no skin off Trump's nose now that he has won the election. Like, I don't honestly think Donald Trump as an individual is really deeply bothered on principle by whether Hunter Biden broke the law or not. I mean, he's obviously been convicted, so there's that. That question is established. But I think Trump looks at someone like Hunter Biden as a useful political argument to be weaponized. Now, at this point, as Trump prepares to go back into power again, it would be a very spectacular and useful thing for Trump to be able to say, look, I'm not actually going after my enemies because I'm going to pardon Hunter Biden. Do you think that's a fanciful idea or not?
No, I actually think it could happen. The same way that he declined to go after Hillary Clinton through the Justice Department, this could be seen as an attempt to sort of unify the divisions between the Democrats and the Republicans. And I also think what gives it even more credence is the way that the Trump-Biden relationship has changed since Biden was kicked off of the Democratic ticket, right? I mean, Trump has repeatedly expressed sympathy for what happened to Joe Biden, even though he still acknowledges that he had this cognitive decline. He says, look, what they did to him was wrong. They shouldn't have instituted this coup to get him off of the ticket. There's been a lot of speculation that Joe and Jill were sort of intentionally trying to sabotage Kamala's campaign because they were so angry at the way that he was treated. So this could be, well, and we also know that Hunter Biden, has previous relationships with Republicans as well. Maybe not Trump, but Tucker Carlson wrote him a recommendation letter for his college application. So I guess I wouldn't be that surprised to see it. I think there's some Republicans already warning against this. Ron Johnson, a senator from Wisconsin, has said that he doesn't think Trump should do it because it would signal that there's a dual standard of justice for children of politicians, which I think is fair. But my argument against that would be that Hunter Biden was never actually charged with what many consider to be the real crimes of corruption and of favor trading on behalf of his father's name. They ended up getting him for a gun charge and some avoiding taxes, right? They never really dug into a lot of the foreign entanglements.
Well, or they dig into it and couldn't make it stick in a legal sense.
Although, well, I would say, going back to the original IRS investigation, that there were multiple whistleblowers who said that they were basically stopped from following down threads that could have led to the president. So ultimately, the federal investigation only led to these 2 separate cases on the guns and the taxes. So in that sense, you're not really pardoning him for the thing that Republicans had the biggest problem with, right?
Yes, sorry, the IRS whistleblowers actually is a good point for you to bring up, because those guys had a pretty compelling story to tell, and were sort of seemingly dismissed or seemingly blocked by people higher up the chain, and that was suspicious. In terms of, you know, the Ron Johnson argument is one that I have quite a lot of sympathy with. I find the system of presidential pardoning itself rather peculiar. We make much rightly of the idea that a president should not be above the law, and then we hand to the president the capacity to pardon other people who have been convicted of offences. That being said, that power exists, and the question is whether Biden will use it on Hunter Biden and whether Trump might use it for Hunter Biden. I mean, I take your point that if it was your kid, if it was my kid, maybe we would. That, I mean, I guess what better personal use could you put the pardon power to? I suspect Biden himself won't, because I think he has even got, you know, in the last year or so of his presidency, got so much involved in this argument of like, we don't interfere in legal cases and Trump does. But I still do think, even though I don't really take Trump's defense of Biden in such good faith as I think you do, I think Trump was doing that strategically to undermine Kamala Harris. I still do think that there is a possibility that Trump has more cunning than he is often given credit for, I think. And so him pardoning Hunter Biden would be this very obvious symbolic move that doesn't really cost Trump very much and could be used to insulate him or neutralize criticism that he is vindictive, and frankly, may allow him to be vindictive to other people who have less of a high profile. And
could advance the argument that he was politically prosecuted by the Biden DOJ through special counsel Jack Smith, and then on the state level through the New York cases, and say, look, even though they came after me and weaponized the DOJ against me, I'm not going to do it to them. Right. That's a powerful argument for him. Yeah, and I mean, I you know, whether Donald Trump wants to unify the country, I am highly, highly skeptical of. Firstly, because that's not his personality, and secondly, because I think that he in many ways benefits from political polarization. But I do think he occasionally pays lip service to that idea. And as I say, an issue like this, where I don't really see the substantive downside to him, is one where I think he could make that kind of move. One final point on this before we wrap, because I think I might take back what I said about how I would pardon my son, because I was thinking about it, and Hunter Biden escaped accountability for his actions for a really long time, and I think to be a good parent, sometimes you have to let them learn the hard way. Amber's taking the harsh view on this. No pardons. Conservative parenting in action. No pardons from President Duke down the line. All right. We have a lot more to come after this.